Hello, my yarny friends. I'm Sara Sach, and welcome to another edition of This or That. And what that is I ask you a question, I give you two answers, and you can give me your answer as this or that or the other thing. It's a really fun way to learn. I've learned a lot from reading your answers. Down in the comments, please comment underneath the video because I have really learned a lot from your answers. I love reading them every week that we do this. And I also encourage you to read other people's comments because you really can learn from each other. Because remember, crochet is an ever-growing and changing art. Well, today's question is this. Weaving in all those ends. And this is just a practice C2C square that I was working on. Nothing major. But I decided to leave all the ends out so that you could see what it looks like if you don't weave as you go. All right, some projects we can do that. We can weave it in as we go and then tidy it up a little later. Or we can wait till the end and weave in all those ends. So basically what our question is do you prefer to weave as you go, or do you prefer to wait till the end and weave them in? Now for me, it depends on the project. If it's a scrap happy project, I like to try to weave in as I go, and then I'll come back in and tidy it up some more. But it eliminates having a whole bunch of these strings everywhere. And one of the things that I see a lot is the C2C, which this is what this is, corner to corner block stitch. We leave those ends out, okay? And so let me show you what I do and how I weave it in, because I do get lots of questions that says, I weave it in and that silly string pops right back out. Well, let's see if we can eliminate that issue. Now, I'm not going to weave in all these ends right now. That would just take too much time. But I am going to show you a couple of tricks that I do that help with weaving in and having them stay. All right, let's take these two down here. What I do when I bring in a new color is I take that yarn and I do what I call a little stay knot. I just wrap it around like that. That pulls in the ends so that they're not drooping, and then I can come back in and weave that in later. All right, and then what I do when I come back in and weave it in is I'll put it on my needle. If it wants to go on there, that is. Sometimes if you fray out the end of your yarn, I'm using a cotton, and so that helps also. And then we can fold it over and stuff it in our needle. Okay, so what I do is we want to make sure when we've changed colors like this that we're weaving it in the same color. Because if I weaved it in the pink, it might accidentally show through on the other side. All right, and so what you want to do is you want to go in the stitches and try to go through the fibers. And I'll go one way. And if I'm going down a stitch, I try to stay in just those back stitches. Let me turn it over so you can see. You can't see those from the front, even though it's the same color. And once I've gone down, I'll go over and I'll go right back over what I just did. And I might even go through the fibers of that yarn that I just stitched down. And I'll go down and back up. All right. Now let's look at the front. You can't even see it. All right. So I might think, well, I'm not really sure that's going to hold. So I'll just do it down the next stitch. And you can do this with any stitch that you're doing, not just the C2C. Go down, go through some of the fibers, and then go back up and go through some of the fibers of that one you just stitched down. All right, and then I'll clip that. And if you do that this way, I challenge you to try to undo that because it is in there secure. All right, let me do this pink one. just so that you can see. Weaving in can be a chore, yes. But if we do it properly, it's not so bad. All right, so we're going to go in, working through the stitch and some of those fibers. We'll go down a little farther, and then come right back up the way that we went. All right, if we feel like it's not holding enough, we can go down the next one. All right, that one's getting a little short, so I'm going to go ahead and clip it. There we go. All right, so we weaved these two ends in. We did that stay knot, and it's not really a knot, it's just kind of a wrap over. And this is the back side, and see the front? You can't even see where I've done that. All right? And so I have a lot of weaving in to do. But if I would have weaved this in as I went, it would have gone a lot quicker. So I'll make little stay knots on the ends where we changed colors, and that will help it hold its shape until I can get back to it, and then I will weave all these ends in. Yes, weaving in all those ends can be a chore, but I look at it this way. It's a part of what I'm doing. If I'm going to crochet, I know I'm going to have at least 2 ends to weave in, where I started and where I ended. And if I have lots of color changes like this one that's sort of random, I'm going to have a lot of ends to weave in. It's just part of the process. All right, so again, the question is, do you weave those in as you go, or do you wait to the very end? And do you really just hate it? I would say most people do, but I don't hate it at all. To me, it's just part of the process of what I'm doing. Well, please feel free to comment down in the notes underneath this video in that comment section. Because again, I love to read your comments and hear your ideas and thoughts. And if you have hints and great things that work, you can put those down there too. Like I said, we can learn from each other. Well, thank you for being with me today, and I'll see you next week on another edition of This or That. Bye-bye now.